right, so this is the last baby talk, and it is with me. My friend Diana recognized that I was never going to interview myself, and like a good friend, she stepped in and volunteered to interview me. I'm smart enough to know when I should just agree with smart people. So this is Diana interviewing me. Enjoy!
Hi, everyone, and welcome. You're probably a little confused. Why is she talking? Why isn't George talking? Well, we're switching things up a little, and I am allowing you to hear from the person that you actually want to hear from, the creator himself, George O'Connor.
Co-creator?
Co-creator. Sorry. Okay, I'll take it from the top.
No, we're not here without Griffin. So,
That's true. That is very true.
We never want to forget. We never forget. Like he's not alive.
Well, actually, my first question.
Yep.
You have talked a little bit about what inspired the story behind Baby. And if anyone out there hasn't watched the interview with Logan, the inspiration behind Baby himself, I highly suggest that you watch that interview. But I wanted to know what inspired this particular project, the reading, the radio broadcast of Baby. What brought on that idea?
It was born out of the all readers aspect of the book. Kind of that angelic, perfect idea of a parent and their child or children kind of like sitting around all reading the book together, like I did, and probably all of us parents did, that there was that window where you were reading with and to your child, like it was a co thing. And it was, so that was part of it, is that kind of like angelic setting of everybody sitting around watching or reading the book. And it's also inspired by knowing the actors like yourself, like Clay, who I knew I would have a blast with kind of bringing this to life, having y'all add your talents and expertise to bringing it to life. And with me, a lot of the stuff is just born out of curiosity. So part of it was curious to see how you would bring lines to life, how Clay, how Arthur, how everybody would bring something to life, because I love being surprised as much as anybody. I mean, one of my favorite things about being a director and a comic book writer as well is you get to hand it off to other artists and they get to do their thing with it. So it's always fun to see how other people interpret something I've been hearing in my head for years.
Definitely. And it is interesting. I always say one of the things that I love most about filmmaking is that it is a collaborative art. And you take part in a lot of different types of art. Filmmaking, comic books, and your bands, your music, and they're all collaborative arts. You don't paint, you don't write novels, you do all collaborative arts. And there's a lot of different people involved in that. And I've known you for a long time. And I've seen you bring in people, both complete amateurs, and I've seen you bring in people who were rising stars. And how do you choose these different people you work with, and how has it changed over time from back when it was a bunch of friends getting together to now, when you really have more of a purview of different choices and global choices?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the fun, amazing things. Like some of my collaborators I've never met before, but I trust them with my life. It's at this point, it's like, I don't know, it's a well-tuned vibe, if that makes any sense. Because I've been doing this long enough, I've had the chance to meet a lot of people and learn from people who I felt like were doing it right, who I wanted to emulate, or who I saw were inspiring other people. And along the ways, you also see people who say they want to do a thing and they talk about how they want to do a thing, but you never actually see them do the thing.
Mm.
And you know, as I, the royal you, get older, our time becomes tighter. So maybe where pre-Logan, I could kind of let more time. I'll use wasted, but that's probably the wrong word. Give more time to people who may or may not actually be as committed as they say they are. And now juggling everything I'm juggling with, if I'm working with somebody, it's because I believe that they will do the thing. That they take their time seriously and they take the time of the people they're around seriously. And that is not determined on where you are in the rung or in your skill sharpening or in your journey. Professionalism doesn't come with a paycheck, it's an attitude. um, so I can see somebody who's just starting out, um, but I can see that they're working, that they're interested in getting feedback, that they're willing to share what they're doing, um, and that they're doing it for not the right they're doing it for the thing, not fame, fortune, whatever.
Yeah,
um
because most
and
of us never get famous.
that yeah, that's true. You know, any of the chosen fields, you know, there are people just grinding away, you know, and they don't have mansions, they don't have marquees or anything like that.
Unlike
But
me.
soon, oh soon, so many marquees. um it's just running out of space because we have so many marquees. So that, and those, and as I get older, um I am embracing whatever mentorship I can provide, you know, being fully aware of where I am in my journey and the rung and all of that. um
I have seen that a lot. A lot of our friendship, for the viewers out there that don't know us, grew out of me going to comic book conventions with
mhm.
you and helping out at your table. And it seems like at least once every show, if not multiple times, there would be some young person at the table buying a book or two and asking you how you did it, how you got started, and how you kept going.
Yeah.
And sometimes they would have their book of artwork, or they would be pitching you a story idea and asking you, how did you make it happen? What do you tell them?
I tell them they just made a mistake because they think they asked a 1 minute question and it's going to go on forever and a day because it's something that I'm really passionate about. And you know, and it's in those scenarios, what I flash back to are all the people who have taken time out of their day to mentor me. Whether it was when I was starting out my copywriting career, and me bugging art directors, creative directors, copywriters to look at my stuff. And I would ask them for 15 minutes and they'd give me an hour. And it was them driving the conversation. And that's just that specific part of my life. But in every endeavor, there have been people who have given me their time and their insights. And the best way I can thank them is to do that for somebody else. So I do take that stuff very seriously. So if somebody comes up and they want to share their thing, the first thing I want to do is be encouraging. That doesn't mean I'm, you know, to continue to do the thing, to I don't know, encourage their path, because this can be tough. It can be mentally tough. It's entertainment, it's fun, but it's still a grind. Um, so and that, but then that also gives me a chance to kind of learn a little bit more about them and what are they looking for. And you can just kind of tell from how they talk, how they receive the information and the feedback, and just start asking them about themselves. And that helps kind of figure out where they are mentally and in their journey. I have no idea if that answered your question.
I'm sort of interested in what drives you.
Oh, okay.
What makes you able to complete project after album after comic book after film? Every year you keep moving forward, you keep creating new art. And even though you have a full-time day job, even though you have a family that you love and spend time with, you have so many different types of art, and they're all collaborative, which collaborative art is its own special kind of time suck at
Mm.
times. Because even though you're ready to do something doesn't mean that your bandmates are, or that
The
your
herding cat.
artist
Yeah.
is, or whoever.
Yeah.
And we've all experienced that. It's a scheduling nightmare at times.
Yeah.
But you get it done. You do the thing, as we say. And I'm really curious how.
I appreciate that. I think the first thing is uh, part of my ism that I'm working on is I will look more at the stuff that isn't done than what is done. Yeah, and I'm working on that. But if we're gonna start doing kind of like the Psych 101, at the moment I've kind of put it into this. It is a pie that is made up of curiosity, um, fear of boredom, and fear of death. Um,
So basically, you're
because
afraid all the time.
yes, part of we've talked on and off camera about wiring, and I am not wired to wake up, go to bed, or wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, watch TV, go to bed, rinse, repeat. That that is my version of hell right there. So part of it is working against that wiring of just that making stuff makes all of this worth it. I've also realized that there's a curiosity that goes on. Like there's part of me that is still 12 years old, and sees something fun and wants to try it.
This curiosity thing explains to me why you messed up so many takes with laughter. It
well, that's
really,
just that's two things. One, I'm easy. I am an easy audience. And I want everybody to succeed. When a project starts, I want everyone to succeed. I want everyone to have the biggest, most focused spotlight it can be.
I'm just saying that when I try stand up, I really need you in the audience.
Absolutely, anybody, so that's the other thing is I really enjoy this stuff. I am a sucker for line reads. I'm a sucker for a good line read, which gets me in trouble at home because Tracy will say something. I'm like, that's a funny line read. It's like, it's not a line read. I'm talking to you. I'm like, the line read. That's a funny line read. But I want to have a good time and I want everybody to succeed. I want everybody to come out of the experience better. And that person can define what better is.
This also brings me around to your newsletter, which
Mm.
goes hand in hand with all the things we've been talking about. Um, I'm a clean inbox person. If I have like a whole bunch of stuff in my inbox, like I get like freaked out. So I unsubscribe from everything. And your newsletter, even if we weren't super close friends, I would still read your newsletter. And I read your whole newsletter every month because your newsletter isn't it isn't about you. I mean, it is. You're talking about going to Japan to see wrestlers, or you're talking about this project, but you always put it in this phrasing of service.
Mm.
You're always making it lessons that people can learn through you so they don't have to go through the pain of learning them themselves.
Yeah.
How do you do that and you send out your newsletter not too often. You hit like this perfect little like
Once
I
a
don't
month.
feel like I've gotten one in a while and then I get it.
Cool.
um how do you stay on top of that? How do you summon that energy on a regular basis?
Um, so if I'm doing a newsletter, again, we're gonna psych 101 me real quick. I am somebody who is afraid I'm bugging you. We have, if it's you and I, we have been friends for almost 20 years at this point. We both know that each other would take a bullet for the other one. I know it, you know it, I know you know I know it,
I mean,
and
I would like
vice
take
versa.
one off a countertop and like hand it to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I know that, but there are still times where I won't or will hesitate dropping you a line about something because I'm afraid I'm bugging you. And that goes with everybody. So if I'm starting up this newsletter, and the point of this newsletter, like if we're going to get down into it, is it's a way to support all these creative things I'm doing. So it is self-serving. Every newsletter is self-serving. That's what it is. Um, so if I'm doing this, if I'm going to bug you once a month, how can I feel more comfortable with that? And I what I have found over the years is that a lot of the stuff I deal with as a creator, the hurdles imagined and real in front of me, they are not unique to me. I keep going back to it when Neil Gaiman says he has imposter syndrome and he looks at a blank page and goes, I don't know if I can do this. If he's saying that and I'm saying that, then clearly it's not a me issue and it's not a him issue. It's a wiring issue. So if I've had all of these, I won't say light bulb moments because sometimes it takes a long time for these things to I don't know, go fully bright. Um, if I'm going through this stuff, I have no doubt other people are going through it, or have had those thoughts. And the other thing I've kind of noticed is there is a fear of talking about that stuff. And I know my shoulders have relaxed the most when I've realized it's not me. It's a universal thing. So that's that's a bit of the combination of things that make me comfortable doing a monthly newsletter where I can talk about what's going on in my head. One, so if somebody else is reading it, they can have that. It's not just me, and that bit of relaxed. The other thing that I'm trying to do is, unfortunately, I'm one of those creators who thinks everything he does sucks. I don't have that big boisterous confidence. I just that's not me, and I can't even summon the
George,
way to fake it. Uh,
George,
yes,
none of your stuff sucks.
thank you.
None of it.
Um, thank you. And but there's a filter. So, but I know there's a filter, and I can recognize that that filter isn't doing anything positive. It is not helping me achieve the things I want to achieve. So the way I combat that is I try and I call it balancing the scales. If my brain is going to run with, you know, pick a thing, if we're all creators, there's the voice that goes, does this mean anything? Does anybody care? So that's that intangible voice that runs. So what can I
Totally. I
do?
do that with my Facebook posts.
Right, exactly,
Type,
exactly.
type, type, type. Why am I posting this?
Yeah, yeah, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So how can I balance that part of my brain? And what I'm trying to get better at is recognizing the tangible moments and accepting that they're real. So, for example, if I'm sitting here going, why does anybody, nobody cares about the graphic novels I've created, and that voice goes, well, as a matter of fact, we've, Griffin and I were talking about this. We've been doing this for 10 years. Um, I have gone through boxes and boxes of books. Um, 90% of what I sell are to people who don't know me, who don't care about me. Um, on a grand scale, they may wish me the best, but they don't owe me anything. Um,
And many of them seek you out year after year at the same conventions to see what you have that's new.
yeah, and that's so these are, and again, this is the fear of course is that this is coming off as bragging, but it's not. If anything, I want anybody listening to this to kind of like dissect what I'm the equation I'm putting together is that there are these tangible things. Like if I'm selling thousands of dollars of books at a comic convention, that's not pity. That is somebody listening, flipping through whatever, and deciding I want to read this. And that's real. That is tangible. It can't be taken away. The nice thing about doing this consistently for 10 years is, like you said, at the shows that we do every year, we are growing this group of people who are looking for us, want to know how our year has been, our summer has been, and then want to know what's new. And that's real and that's earned, and that's the type of tangible stuff I try and keep to try and balance all this stuff out. Again, a super long way to go around. So when I am talking to a creator in whatever medium, um, I want to give them as many balancing touch points as possible, tangible positives that they can bring up when the stupid side of our head kicks in. And that's a very painfully long way to say that's how I put my newsletter together. Yes, at some point I'm going to tell you about the things I'm creating, and that's the self-serving part. But the first part of the newsletter is always going to be, here's something I'm working on or had an epiphany on. Here's how I broke it down. Here's how it affected me. Here's how I internalized it, whatever. In the hopes that if it sounds familiar, one, you're not alone. Two, maybe now you've got some ideas of how to approach it your way. So if you're going to give me your email address, I want to give you something useful out of it. And that is how my Catholic guilt can allow me to have a newsletter, is if I can make sure there's something for the person reading it. as well.
So for all of those people who want to know what's next, George?
Uh, that's a great question. Okay, so we are going to finish up this baby Kickstarter, and we are going to record it, which I'm thrilled to do.
And currently, we're really close to a stretch goal.
Yes. As we are recording this, we're about $130 away from unlocking our second stretch goal, which is a print from Meredith Laxton, which is a wonderful way to hand off to the other thing that is going on creatively. Is Meredith and I have been working on a comic for a year and change at this point. That one clearly I can't talk about in specifics, which is like a neat little milestone for myself to finally have a project I like. I can't talk about it just yet. I'm thrilled that I get to say stuff like that. But it's a book so we've been working on it for, at this point, maybe a year and a half. It's been in my head for close to 5 or 6 years. So I am, not only am I thrilled to get this story out, but what Meredith is doing with the art is just gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. I
Told
keep
me about this, and I'm super excited. I get around the lawyers. I get the real estate, and I'm super excited for
yeah.
this.
It's I keep saying Meredith is going to make people think I'm a better writer. She is so good. And we have Ali Pepitone, who's doing the colors, which, you know, that's the stage we're on right now, and what she's doing is gorgeous. And Taylor Esposito is our letterer. He's done everything under the sun. He is an absolute pro, and everybody is elevating this story, and that thrills me. Kind of going back to your collaborator thing, like, this story is not what it was 5 years ago. It wasn't what it was when I handed it off to Meredith. It's better, and I think that's also why I love the collaborative medium. Is I just want ideas to get better, and I don't care where that comes from, right? Like, yes, I'm a writer, but if somebody else has a better line, you go with the better line, because it's not about you, it's about the thing in general.
That is one of the many things I've learned from you, that in collaborating, every person you bring in should raise the level a little in different ways. And that doesn't necessarily mean working with someone who's more established than you, because sometimes Arthur Laurie, who we work with a lot, he's super talented, but he has never made a move to go professional as an actor. And I have seen you give him dialogue, and then he just takes it and runs with it, and it's brilliant. It's
Yep.
absolutely brilliant. And I've seen you do that consistently against all different formats, that you bring in people that bring the work up, because it's about the work.
Yeah.
It's not about glorifying you. It's about the product at the end.
I will focus on the comic, but I'm talking about everything. We are all on a journey. You know, if we take the 4 of us making this comic book, we are all on a journey, and part of that journey is getting the next piece of work. So my whole goal, since we kicked this off, and, you know, Meredith and Ali, they're probably all sick of me saying it, is we want to make this thing so good that it's easier to make to get the next thing made.
Yeah.
And you do that by elevating. And what I've enjoyed now, doing comics for 10 or 11 years, is seeing how much I've become a better creator in general because of comics. Because comics taught me and hammered home the idea of, you bring in experts and then let them do their expertise. I always say, like, look, I'm gonna build the lane, and I'm gonna set up your right and left bumpers. There's the target. However, in this lane you want to get to the target, I don't care, you know, because it'll be better if the artists and the royal artist can hit that target how they feel it. It'll be better. They'll be more invested. And when you bring in the right people, um, they know how to take the thing and elevate it. And that has been, like I said, that is something I learned and hammered home through comics. But then I also know in the music stuff, that has absolutely made me a better bandmate, because instead of pointing, bringing a song and telling the bass player this is what you're doing, that that absolutely negates the talent, expertise of, in this case, Jeff Grossman and Swarm of Eyes, who's one of the most talented bass players I've ever seen. It still blows me away that I now get to be in a band with him. And he is so talented. He is so trained at that expertise that I am screwing everybody if I, a guitar player, tell a bass player who's been doing it for however long he's been doing it, who just sees it and hears it differently. To take that away from them is going to hurt everybody. And that goes the same with actors. It goes the same, director to actor, writer to artist, copywriter to art director. Um, if you give people room, they will shine, and the thing will be better, which means we can make the next thing. Again, a very long way to get there. But
Okay,
I,
one more
yeah.
minute. What other projects, what other next things are there?
Um, there, I have been working on an acoustic music project, which is completely foreign to me. I've been a metal and punk guy for, ever since I was a teenager. And then literally cliched, like, I started noodling around on my acoustic guitar. In a very short amount of time, I had a bunch of riffs, and that curiosity kicked in. So I was like, well, let me pursue this and push it and see what happens. And what has happened is a 9-song acoustic album, which, and I'm trying to sing on it. I'm still not 100% sure if that's good or not, but we're going to try.
You're never
Uh,
100% sure whether it's
no,
good or not.
no. But, in true me fashion, I brought in my friend Rev to play bass on it. Um, which, again, like, yeah, I could, it could be fine if I played bass on it, or I could bring in one of my incredibly talented friends to elevate it.
Yeah.
And then my friend Derek, who is also in Swarm of Eyes, he's coming in, has laid down a bunch of solos that are just mind-blowingly awesome. And I'm thrilled for people to see a different side of him. um and again, just it is better. It is better because I opened it up to other people. It can be my idea, but bringing in other people, it just makes things better. So in the grand scheme of things, I would love for that album to be out in a few months. The comic is slated for early January. There may be a Kickstarter for the first issue in the back end of the year. Um, and man, outside of that, who the hell knows? Because I'm still 12 years old, and I might see something that looks cool and interesting and drag all y'all in with me again.
All right. And how now? Most people seeing this probably know how to keep up with you, but just in case there's anybody out there, where should they look you up?
All right. So if you want to check the comics projects, it's homelesscomics.com. If you want to see everything that I do, I have a comprehensive website called Making Stuff with George. You go there.com, makingstuffwithgeorge.com, and that'll give you an overview on all of the music projects, all of the comics, we did podcasts, web series, all that stuff is kind of like the umbrella for that. And then if you want to join the newsletter, it's called Figuring It Out on the Fly. And we'll throw links down in the bottom. And then on Twitter, where I, more or less live, it's /Lazy Horde, LAZYHORDE. And all of
Awesome.
that stuff will be in the bottom.
Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you, George. And thank you to everyone for joining us in this 2-person group therapy session. And
Always
definitely,
turns into that.
you should see us at lunch. And definitely check out the Kickstarter, check out the website, sign up for the newsletter. You won't regret it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diana. All right, so that was me. Thank you to Diana for flipping the script on me. And thank you for watching this and for watching all of the interviews that I've done. This whole project has been about supporting creators and artists who have supported me over the years. So it was a thrill to introduce them to you. Thank you for watching. If you've supported the baby Kickstarter, thank you. Now would be a wonderful time if you're ready to. We're about to close it all out. It's been a hell of an interesting ride, and I'm looking forward to making the thing soon. Thanks for watching.